Stand tall, walk free. Let's get back to the story when, in 1998, after the death of your husband, Robert Davis, right?
Right.
Let's talk about when you went to court and when you lost the home. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I lost the home because it was a life estate. It meant that it went back to the children of the woman who owned the house. If anything happened to my husband.
And who was the judge that did that?
I don't remember. She was Spanish.
Well, what about Judge Allen, Jeffrey Allen? How was he tied into?
He wasn't the judge over the house.
But you went to court for something with him, right? What did you go to court for?
Yeah. No, my husband did. I didn't.
So you lost the house. And then what happened?
Then I became homeless.
And how long were you homeless?
Oh, for years. Many years.
Well, you figure 1998 to what?
I didn't get a place till 2009 or 2010.
So basically you had a storage and stuff where you kept your stuff and
Yes.
and you just kind of like spent nights in different people's houses?
Yes. I was in and out of shelters.
All because of what happened in 1998, May 11, 1998.
Yes.
Which is a shame that you had a house and you had to lose it.
Yes.
In 1998, you met your friend, right?
Yes.
Which is me, Gloria, right?
Right.
Then the story began about the revolvement of things that were tied,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so you connected my story with your story.
Yes.
And what did you tell me, the key word? You said they were involved
Yes.
and murder tied into it.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
So I met you and I told you
It
what
had to do with the Catholic Church.
the Roman Catholic Church, right?
Roman Catholic
What's the
Church.
name of the Catholic Church?
St. Joseph.
And what's the name of the coach's name? Antonio.
Tony Aiello.
And he now owns
And he now owns the church.
in high school, Notre Dame High School, right?
Notre Dame High School.
And why do you think it was involved?
It had to do with money. Archibald, he had a lot of money, and I suspect that he was murdered, and they took his house property and his money.
Well, when I met you,
And it was a conspiracy.
when I met you, I told you my story, right?
Yes.
I told you that I met Mr. Jawad in 1990, right? And I had 3 children. And apparently, I had some relationship with him, and apparently he wanted me to move in. That was the key that you explained to me, that they wanted me out of the way.
Yes.
So in 1990, I met him, and so we separated. So then what happened was, a few years later, we're talking about 2002,
Yes.
he met a married woman. What was her name? Betty Romero, right?
Yes.
Well, Betty Romero, remember, she was married, and I told you that she was separated from her husband, right? But that she was still married and sort of having an affair with Mr. Jawad.
Yes.
Remember what her son said when we saw him?
Yeah, he was scared for his life. He said they're going to get me.
And the reason why the son said that, Betty Romero's son
He
said
was to
that,
come into some money.
because his stepfather had a lot of money, and he said he might not make it because they're trying to go after him and take his life, right?
Yeah.
So when that happened, I saw Betty Romero, and this is what she said to me. She said, "My son is dead. He died, and he died of an overdose." Well, do you believe that?
No.
That he died of an overdose?
No.
So he passed away, and he passed, and she moved away. And then what happened to Mr. Jawad's estate? It was all a conspiracy. And let's tell the audience about the will. What do you think about that will after Mr. Jawad died? What do you think about what you saw the pages of the will?
There was a lot of people involved.
And one of the key components was the Catholic Church,
Yes.
St. Joseph Catholic Church, right?
Right.
So, who was the main person in the Catholic Church? Antonio Aguiló, right?
Yes.
And the executor was an attorney, James Kennedy. But then they scratched it out of the way and decided to have Antonio Aguiló.
Right.
And then he scratched it out with no notary and got Lance Russum, an attorney that's in Alameda. Can you tell me a little bit about Lance Russum, this attorney in Alameda? About his secretary? What happened a long time ago? There was embezzlement, wasn't there?
Yes, I think so. They took some money from someone.
Okay, so that proves the point. It was all about money laundering. You know who else was on the will is Jeffrey Allen. Okay? This is all tied into that will. Okay? So what happened with that was a key component of what was the issue. It was about money. And so James Stonehouse came into the picture. And can you tell me about James Stonehouse? Was he involved in the relationship of your husband?
He was my husband's aunt's lawyer.
What-
He swindled all the money that my husband had.
Didn't he have money in the bank accounts?
Yes.
And when he passed away, what happened to all the bank accounts?
They were all gone.
Because James Stonehouse was the executor of the estate of what was that? Of the will of who? What was the person's name?
Mary and Neil.
And he took all the money. And somebody that was associated with Mary Neal was the aunt or friend?
A friend of the aunt's.
Okay, he hired James Stonehouse, and then so what he did, he got being an executor, and he took not only the money of his share, he took it all, and he also went and took your husband's accounts when he died, right?
Yes.
Tell the audience what happened when you went to the bank.
The money was gone.
And what did they say they were going to do?
Nothing.
They were going to call the police, remember?
Oh yeah, they were going to call the police on me.
Okay, so you were never able to get that money, right?
Right.
So the situation was that the outcome was that James Stonehouse was involved with the church according to the deeds, right?
Yes.
Because it's in care of Notre Dame High School. What about Gallagher Lindsay? How is he tied into that? Don Lindsay.
Well, they were involved with the property of Art Jawad.
Right, and he also had another fictitious name. What's called what? Timperdale. And that was done by the deeds, but his company was called Gallagher Lindsay, right?
Right.
And Don Lindsay was affiliated with the church, right?
Yes.
Because it was in care of the church as well. So what happened with the coach, Antonio Aguiló? In the end, Arjawad's son was not in too much relationship with her father until he died. They paid on the house on Fernside, right? The next day. So he homesteaded at his father's house. So finally, the coach decided he was going to give him that property. What about Margaret Jawad? How is she tied into that? She was divorced from him, right, in the 80s? And then his attorney was, the name was Yolanda Nortridge, right? And she was tied in by being the family lawyer, right? Am I right?
Right.
So that was all tied into the cahoots of that will, right?
Right.
So what we're saying to the audience is this is a part of a scandal.
Right.
It's a scam, and they won the scam. So the big picture was that the money went to a lot of people, right?
Right.
And you can't really prove it because it was like a plot.
Yeah.
It was a scam. They plotted this very carefully. Am I right?
Right.
So your story is collided with mine. Why is that? Because of the people
Because of the Catholic Church.
and the people that were involved, right?
People involved.
So the next time that I talk to you, you're going to tell the audience you're going to continue the subject, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you. Stand tall, walk free.